Um, thus far, we haven't had that challenge that you spoke of. Suppose more than 5 people want to come.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we don't go into prison soliciting. They the counselors or the treatment centers personnel contact us and say there's someone here that's within a year's time of being released from prison. Would like to get an application. Would like for somebody to come out and interview them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go based on who's coming home sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Another criteria for us is that we really try to find out if we can help a person. And what I mean by helping a person is this. Excuse me. We don't tell a person, to come here and succeed, you have to have a job. You have to get 2 jobs. And we tell a person, we try to find out what is the person's aspiration, what is it they really want to do out of life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a passion for something, then more than likely you can be almost gravely ill and you're going to get up and pursue whatever that particular thing is.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, until they can achieve what it is they're trying to do, they have to maintain themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we never tell somebody when you come here in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, a month's time, you have to have a job. But we expect initiative on your part.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we encourage people to pursue education. And we also encourage them to better whatever their family relationship is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the major challenges somebody coming home from prison. Most people have children.
Mm-hmm.
And the children have built high expectations on the parent coming right back into the family and being an intricate part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So we ask them to really value that, to be sincere about that, and don't compromise or violate the trust of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we go in prison, people hear people saying good things, and they say, you know what, that's just prison talk.
Mm-hmm.
But the test is when you get outside.
Well, let me ask you about the test when you get outside, because it seems like, unfortunately, a lot of people, if they come out and they don't have a plan, even whether it includes coming here or not,
Mm-hmm.
then if they don't have a plan, they do have a plan to fail,
Absolutely.
So do you try to encourage even maybe not the people you're interviewing to come here, but just the Muslim prisoners in general to have a plan for when they come out, to have a plan to practice Islam without restrictions, being imposed on you?
I'm going to say a couple of things to that. One is that even though I'm Muslim and the Muslims are my concern, when I go in, I don't just deal with just the Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
Whomever that approach me, because a lot of people know of me, of my being in prison, and they know of my being involved in prison since I've been out of prison. And so a lot of people approach me about how is it that you stayed out? And I tell them, I say, listen, I didn't wait 2 days before I came home from prison to prepare myself. I said, I started preparing myself to get out of prison after I stopped trying to escape.
Mm-hmm.
I started
You were
really
trying to escape?
Oh man, I was trying to escape, man. Prison was not for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I mean, you had like real serious escape attempts?
I got 2.5 years for aiding and abetting escape from the city jail before I even got to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did, I was wrong to do what I did.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't recommend prison, but prison did work for me.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for me to the extent that I haven't been back. In July the 5th, be 30 years I haven't been in prison as an inmate. But what I tell people to do is prepare themselves. And I tell them to go back to their childhood and find out what it is. If you ask a child, 5 years old, what do you want to do? They can tell you what they want to do. You ask an adult, and in most instances, they hesitate. They don't really know. They just say, I just want a good job, good benefits. But they really don't know what their real purpose or aspirations are. So I tell them, listen, if you want to be a man, man up and find out what it is you really want to do. Where's your skill level? Where's your passion? And if you don't have one, then create one. It's not too late. And you'll be surprised how that takes off with a person in terms of his or her self-esteem. So I said, prepare yourself, man. And I say, have plan A, B, C, all the way to Z, and start all over again, because the first thing may not work.
Mm-hmm.
Because people, depending on where you are, and the mindset of Virginia is unique. It's a hard nut to crack. Virginia is very unforgiving. Mm-hmm. I know people in prison have been in prison for 40 years. I mean, they are nowhere near the person they were when they came in. Mm-hmm. When they go for parole, you know what they tell them? Oh, you've done real good, but we're turning you down for what you came in here for. You can never change what you went in there for, even though you can change the person that you were. Mm-hmm. So Virginia is very unforgiving. So when people come home from prison, when they do get out, in a lot of instances, man, they say, okay, yeah, you can do such and such and such and such. But why were you in prison? I robbed somebody. And that's what they see you then, as the robber. They don't see, you know, recently, the police chief, Richmond lost his police chief. It's a big loss to everybody. I have been to meetings with him about, for example, we had a meeting one time, and the meeting was about curbing the problem at one of the worst schools. And he had ex-felons there. He had one guy was on parole. This guy was in prison for 31 years. He got 17 turn downs. And this guy has completely changed his life. He had another guy came from Baltimore, young guy, and he had developed a program that was proven to be successful to curb gang problems and problems in school. You know what somebody from the school said? School system said? Well, Virginia has a law that no ex-felons can work in the prison. Can work in the schools. You know what my response was? What you have is not working, man. Here's somebody that care enough to ask for their dime, but they want to help. So why you still seeing the person as they were and not as they are? Had a police chief here. Don't you know he done ran the ID on this person? He know everything about this person. Probably how many times the guy inhaled and exhaled. And you saying no. But what you got is not working. So Virginia is very unforgiving, man. And so I've seen people change, I mean change, man. And every year they go for parole, man. You know what they tell them? They say, you know, you done real good, but we turning you down for what you came in here for. That's not fair.
But this is important, you know, because a lot of the stuff you're talking about, it never enters the mind of young people when they're doing the actions, where they're going to have them sitting somewhere getting turned down and only being remembered for the worst thing they've ever done. So what do you, I mean, besides going into the prisons, do you try to advise the youth, you know, the path which you're heading down and the fact that they don't understand the consequences for their actions?
You know, one of the critical challenges in this area is that somebody come home from prison is almost treated like a celebrity. And you know what they don't do to the young people? And
no, explain that a bit. Explain that a bit.
Okay, good. I want to say this. They don't tell the people of the hardships of prison, man. They try to glamorize prison. There was a series out called Oz. Was on HBO. And Oz was one of the very few accounts that's given of prison that tells it just like it is, man. It don't glorify, it don't show nothing pretty about prison, man. Now, so the young people, and a lot of young people, their fathers are in and out of prison, man. I know some instances where son and father shared the same cells, man. So nobody is speaking to the contrary of prison. Nobody is telling the young people, when I say no, there are not enough people telling the young people, listen, your life, your potential, your worth is greater than wasting your time in a prison. Why do the rites of passage for a man have to be found in prison? Why does it have to be found in adversity? So what happens is that prison is promoted to the young people like, if you want to be a man, go up in prison and keep somebody from violating you physically. And that's the only definition to be a man. But nobody tell the young people that to be a man is to be responsible, reliable, dependable, courteous, respectful of people in their property. Nobody tell them that. To be a man, to grow from the seed to the man, nobody tell them part of it is preparing yourself, having dreams, having aspirations, and not being afraid of success and responsibility. Nobody tells them that. When I say nobody, there's not enough people that's telling them that. Telling them to read, you know, to imagine, to use their creativity for the real benefit of life.
Well, Brother Carr, I really appreciate you spending some time with us and telling us a bit about this organization, the Hijra House. And I hope that people who are able to will be able to contribute to help you to
Inshallah.
fund and to expand this place for men and for women.
Absolutely.
Inshallah. But before we conclude here, I'd just like to ask you, from all your years as a Muslim and your perspective, what do you think is the future outlook for Islam here in America?
I think it's good. And I'm not saying this because I'm a hopeless optimist, but I think it's good. One something that we don't do enough